Hey everybody, Quantum back here again, and given that my Ruby Amethyst deck profile and match video was one of the most popular videos I posted on the channel for Lorcana, I figured I would go back and show you some interesting matches that I may have run into. In this particular match, we're in a hardcore best of three, where I'm going up against Emerald Steel, which is usually a deck that would give Ruby Amethyst some trouble. I've talked about this in the deck profile video and in my matches that I've showcased for you with this deck, where I say that you actually aren't in as worse of a position as you were with like Rise of the Floodborn, where this was a really favorable matchup for Emerald Steel. It still is a good matchup for them, but with the addition of the Queen's Castle, you're definitely able to keep pace with the card draw, to outpace their discard, sorry. You're going to see some interesting tech from this Emerald Steel deck, and it's going to actually throw me off, and I make a massive game-losing misplay at the end here, which is kind of funny. But we're on the play, we're feeling pretty good. Seeing that they turn 1 Robin Hood, turn 2 Bucky, I'm like, okay, I have to use the Pinocchio here in order to exert the Robin Hood so they don't shift it, get a big Robin Hood on board, out my threats, make me discard. And I'm like, 4 cards in their hand, what are the odds they have, constant Floodborns? Because when they do curve out like this, the deck is very powerful, and there's almost no deck that really would contend with it, like maybe Steel Song if they're able to get a whole new world off. But you're going to see the opponent ink an Ursula Deceiver, and I'm like, okay, they're obviously doing that because they have a Floodborn, and I'm wondering if they have Uninkables in hand, because Ursula Deceiver would seem a pretty good card to keep. But I expect, 1 or 2 Floodborns, that's fine. I have a Rabbit, and I'm like, with the bounce, I can continue to draw. The Jafar isn't too threatening right now. They're not going to quest with it. They're going to wait to get the advantage off of challenging and drawing a card off the banish here. So I'm like, all right, I'll just wait. They probably drop another Floodborn here, and I'm just hoping they don't curve out perfectly, right? Do they have like Beast Tragic Hero, Tinkerbell, Cinderella, or something like that? That would be really bad. But again, the saving grace is if we can at least continue to draw the cards, even though we're not developing a board, and they are developing a board, because this is where it becomes a bit of a problem, right? They're making us discard, and they're also developing these Floodborn threats, which are usually high impact characters, and I can't keep up with the card draw and deal with the board at the same time. Like, I have to draw the Be Prepared in order to deal with it. But unfortunately, you can see here they curve out perfectly. Beast Tragic Hero into Tinkerbell with a Jafar the turn before. Now we're forced to discard the Tremaine. To be fair, top decking the Madame Medusa there was pretty lucky to deal with the Beast Tragic Hero to prevent the extra draw for them. But I just am in a bad position here. We're in a bit of a stalemate though, and they drop a Tiana, and I'm like, holy crap, this really threw me off. And this is the major misplay. I top deck a Be Prepared. All I have to do is ink and cast Be Prepared, right? Or like quest. And instead I play Castle, thinking that like I can't play actions, and I'm like, oh, why can I play? Why am I allowed to play Friends? Is it because I'm able to sing it and not play it? And so I'm like reading the Tiana there, and then I don't clue into it until after the fact, and I'm like, oh my god, like I didn't realize, like I haven't played against Tiana in a long time, and I'm like, I forgot that the Tiana has to be exerted for you to not play your action, so I should have just inked either the Castle or the Friends, probably the Friends, just hard cast to Be Prepared, draw off the Rabbit, right? Now they top deck, oh my goodness, at Ursula Deceiver, and you can't do anything here but laugh. Like, I remember being in this situation, I'm like, yep, that's just how it goes, like what can I do? Like, the Tiana is insane against me, I guess, in this particular scenario, because it shuts off the Be Prepared. And then looking back at it, doing this commentary, but also just going back over the footage and speeding it up, I was just like, wow, I cannot believe I made that misplay. Because I was just playing fast, right? This is the problem when you don't have a lot of time, guys. Like, and somebody talked about this on a podcast. I think maybe it was Banapal Harko or the Podcana guys, where they said, in response to a question, you're better off playing 1 or 2 matches slower and thinking things through than trying to just grind out many matches and just keep making misplays. I mean, it helps if you can go back and watch your footage over again, like what I'm doing here, because now I can see that I was actually in a very prime position to dominate this game and win it easily. But because of that major misplay, now I'm in a position where I can't do anything. Now that Tiana is going to constantly be exerted, this Be Prepared that I was able to draw into again is just dead in my hand, and I 100% deserve to lose this game. So nothing I can really do. I'm just, waiting it out to see maybe they draw. There's nothing really they're going to draw that's uninkable over 7 ink anyway, so their Tiana is always going to be live. If I top deck a Maui, it's still not going to be fast enough because the Maui takes out the Tiana, and then they just quest for game anyways. I can't play the Maui and the Be Prepared at the same time. So we go into game 2, and I'm going first, and I'm like, okay, let's just fish for a 1-drop here, keep the Rabbit and the Mini for ink, or potentially going aggro, and look at what we draw. This is crazy. we draw into a bunch of uninkables and 2 be prepared. And I'm just like, okay, well, that's just how it goes. I was actually a little salty when I saw this draw, and I was like, man, like, are you serious? But looking back at it, I can't be upset because I threw that first game 100% deserved to lose this game over that massive misplay in game 1. Anyways, we're able to develop a Cusco, and I'm like, yep, of course, the Ursula here rips one of my be prepareds, and then I'm just going to continue to ink whatever I draw basically because I am in a really bad spot here. And this deck, I did edit it obviously from the version that I posted. I'm trying out the Pinocchios again over the latch ditch efforts. But in this particular instance, I was only playing like 14 uninkables. So just the fact that you draw a bunch of them here, and I'm like, oh, it's like, I'm just like, well, the game is pretty much over at this point. Like, but to be fair, unless they get the really nice curve, their deck, they're inking Buckies here. Like, their deck is not necessarily, you can see here, like, if they don't draw the gas like perfectly like what they did in game 1, their deck can't really do that much against you. So yes, they're being a little annoying with the discard and developing small characters, but they don't have that perfect curve out like they did in game 1. So I'm like, all right, let me just continue to play. If I can get up to this 7 ink before they're able to get another Ursula, then to rip the second be prepared, I'm actually going to be okay. So they're opting to ink their Buckies. So I'm like, what could they really have in their hands? Probably uninkable songs. And they're valuing the draw off of these hypnotizes. And I'm just like, holy crap. Like, I'm just like in a really bad position overall here, right? So I'm going to be able to continue to draw with this rabbit though. I'm going to ink the crab and just continue to pass because I don't want to risk getting Robin Hood shifted on. So we're in kind of a stalemate. The opponent knows I have the second be prepared, and I'm just waiting for like the Ursula to come down to rip it. But I could draw into another one. Just the odds is very low. Sure enough, the opponent does have the Robin Hood shift. They use a Zeus to take out one of my rabbits, and then they sing Strength of the Raging Fire to take out the other rabbit. And I'm like, okay, that's actually fine. See, the thing is, in this matchup, where, yes, protecting your rabbits is very important, but you have the Queen's Castle. So even if you lose your rabbits, the Queen's Castle can put in enough work for you to easily come back and win the game. In this scenario, I'm going to quest bounce back the Cusco and take out one of the Prince Johns with the Fox. Yes, I am exposed to getting Robin Hood here so that they get the 2 lore and I lose my Fox, but I'm like, that's okay. They have 3 cards in hand, and I'm like, this is actually maybe manageable here. Let's see what happens. So they're going to opt to crash their Ursula off that improvised draw into the Fox. I guess they value trying to keep their Robin Hood, but I don't know. I think I think they're better off crashing the Robin Hood and trying to keep the Ursula and keep questing. But I guess this is fine too. So they quest with the John, not fearing another Fox. I'm going to hard cast a Friends and play a Queen's Castle. So you notice that I didn't cast the Be Prepared there because I noticed I didn't play anything, and I'm like, yeah, if you want to rip this Be Prepared out of my hand, that's actually kind of okay, I guess. Because if you continue to quest with this John, which because they know I have the Be Prepared, I'm like, if I draw a Maui or a Fox here, I'm in business, and you're not developing your board. Even if you do rip the Be Prepared with top decking it into an Ursula. So once again, you see me not play the Be Prepared here, and I'm just valuing setting up another Queen's Castle. So they took out the first one with the Zeus, and I'm like, yep, you only have 4 strength on board. They eventually, commit to force me to be prepared here. And honestly, I was thinking, like, do I even need to be prepared in this scenario? Because I draw 3 and I finally draw the Maui here. And I'm like, maybe I can opt to not slow roll them necessarily. Not slow roll in the sense of obviously like slow playing, but like be a little bit slower in terms of my ways to out the board and force them to continually commit. Otherwise, I just go wide enough where the Be Prepared doesn't even need to be cast. But I'm like, no, the Cinderella questing for 3, like that could be a little dicey. So I'm just going to go ahead and cast the Be Prepared. I'm going to go ahead and ink a Cusco and then just pass, valuing keeping the Pinocchio and the Mim Snake in hand in case I need to Pinocchio tap down, drop Maui, because that's 7 ink total and that runs over usually anything. The opponent has another Cinderella, and I'm like, okay, would really love to see a Tremaine, but obviously when we need it, we don't see it. That's fine. We're going to let the Cinderella quest. There's no way that they really opt to throw it into the Queen's Castle here unless they draw like a Zeus or something as well. So we're just going to go ahead and develop a double draw with the rabbit bounce, and then put both of these characters on the queen's castle. And at this point, there's nothing the opponent can really do. So you can see the value of queen's castle in this matchup. Yes, they're going to overdevelop a board here, playing up Tiana once again, but this is where the Maui and the Pinocchio come in super clutch. So yes, they're on 13 lore. The Cinderella is threatening to go to 16, and then if they shift Robin Hood, they're going to get another 2 to go to 18. But being you know, not playing Amethyst, I don't have to fear a goat or anything for them to close out the game. So I'm actually okay here in opting to take out the Tiana, and leaving the Cinderella and the Robin Hood on board and drawing 4, because I think I put the Maui on the castle instead. Pretty sure I should put the Maui on the castle. Yeah. Because I'm going to force them to either say, if you have the shift Robin Hood, you have to take out this castle, otherwise I draw 4. Or if you want to just try to continue to quest and race me, like, I'm going to draw 5 next turn, right? So it's like I'm going to have an answer to, like, I already do have an answer to the, to the Cinderella, but they're going to sing the Zeus in order to play out the Tiana, to play out their hand, which prevents me from drawing 4, which is pretty fair. But now I'm like, okay, that's fine. I am going to opt to take out the Cinderella with the Rafiki and the Maui, and then use Snake to take out the Robin Hood, and probably just drop a Queen's Castle. And the Tiana isn't going to be enough in order for them to keep pace with the lore gain off the castle, because Tiana quests for 2 and the castle gains 2. So I'm just going to be able to outrace you in the lore at this point. Yeah, I just developed. Okay, I probably shouldn't have put the Snake there. I probably should have opted to put play out the Rafiki. So they played a Beast Tragic Hero, and I'm like, okay, this is only 4 ink, so it doesn't even matter. Like, I can just develop a wide board and go for game next turn. I don't have to worry about, you know, drawing to Be Prepared, playing Be Prepared, or playing a Medusa or anything. They're going to draw 2. I'm going to win off Queen's Castle. There's like literally nothing. Like, what could they draw into? Like, double, like, Rise of the Titans. And yeah, there's like, I don't think there's anything to out the board, because if I just go wide enough, like, there's nothing that they can draw. So they end up conceding there, and now we're on to game 3. Going second, our hand is actually good. We don't even mulligan anything here. And I'm like, please no song, so that when they turn to Ursula me, like, I have nothing for them to discard. So it works out. You know, turn 1 Robin Hood, pretty strong. Inca Robin Hood, and probably play an Ursula, as expected. No song, looking good for me. We have a lot of ink this time. We're looking pretty good. We're going to quest with the Minnie Mouse, ink the Snake, and play out a Snake in order to bounce the Minnie Mouse back, which is going to be ink most likely next turn. And they're likely going to curve out nicely here with the Robin Hood shift and quest, because it looks pretty safe. They actually didn't see when they casted the Ursula that I drew a crab for turn. So we're going to ink this Minnie, and it does feel a little bad giving them a draw 2. You know, draw 1 for this Robin Hood and then draw during their turn, which I guess is just really a draw 1, since they're going to draw for turn anyways. But I have to do it. The Robin Hood is too much of a threat. So they're on 5 cards. I'm on 5 cards. They're on 2 lore. I'm on 1 lore. I'm actually ahead now in tempo because of the crab, if you could realize that, because the way that the Snake worked out, bouncing back the resource. The Hypnotize, you know, forces them to lose tempo a little bit. They develop another Robin Hood here, and I'm just like, okay, Maleficent's not needed at this moment in time because we have the Rabbit, so we opt to develop Rabbit, and I'm feeling pretty good now. I'm like, holy crap, I got the Pinocchio. Yeah, I'm looking a-okay. They drop a John and play a Sudden Chill, and I'm like, okay, yeah, they're gonna draw 1 off of this. That's fine. 2 cards in hand, an Ursula, a Robin Hood. So a really small board. We're on 4 ink. We're gonna ink a Cusco here and probably just drop another Rabbit, or are we gonna? Okay, Fox here. I don't know how I feel about doing the Fox here. That seems like a bit of a misplay to me. Oh, okay, never mind. I know why I did that. Yeah, that makes sense. Because on 5 ink, I was planning to take out the Robin Hood to prevent the shift. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because I was going to say playing the Rabbit there is actually better value, but that's fine. So they're going to opt to take out the Fox with the Ursula and ink a Cinderella and drop a Beast Tragic Hero past turn. We have a Be Prepared, and we just have to hope that the opponent doesn't rip into another Ursula. We're just going to quest with everything. They're going to get this draw 2 off. That's fine. What do they rip off of it? Are they going to overextend their board here and play into the Be Prepared? Yes, they do. They're going to drop a Jafar and take out the Pinocchio with the Prince John. And I'm like, at this point, it should be GG. We're going to sing Friends with the Rabbit and we're going to ink the goat and cast to be prepared. Oh, quest first, of course, then cast be prepared. So somehow we won that game 2, and we're looking really good now for game 3 because we just drew into double Queen's Castle. So on 6 ink, we are on 7 ink. So even though the opponent went first, like, we're just ahead now. And they're thinking real hard about what to do. They're going to drop this John and then an Ursula, hoping to get a discard off me so that they can draw off the John. They see the double Queen's Castle. I have no songs, and I'm just like, yeah, you got 2 strength on board. I'm just going to go ahead and drop a castle and a Cusco. And yeah, I guess I can afford to ink this Rafiki past turn. See what they got here. They've got a Rise of the Titans. Okay, that's fine. I've got another castle and a rabbit ready to come down. They're going to quest with both because why not? We draw Be Prepared. And I'm like, okay, well, they've gone through 2 Ursulas here, so I should be pretty safe to just keep this in my hand. We draw a mini. I'm just going to ink that right away so I can move Rabbit to the castle, quest with the Cusco, and pass turn. The opponent, I think, is going to realize that there's nothing really they can do. They drop this Robin Hood, and I'm like, perfect. And then they strength my Rabbit to prevent the draw. But you can just see the offensive pressure that the Queen's Castle puts on them here. Because as soon as I drop this Be Prepared, they know it's over. They're in top deck mode. I've got this castle, and I'm going to be able to continue to put things on the castle, outdraw them, outrace them, and they just know it's a GG. And just like that, we came back from a massive misplay in game 1 to beat Emerald Steel. They dropped another Ursula here, but it's too little too late. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like. Thank you again for watching, guys. Quantum is out.